Get the F out of here. Hey, folks, I'm not talking to you. I love you. You're the best. No, I'm talking to myself. When something isn't getting done in my business, it's usually because I've injected myself into the process. I remember ages ago when we had my friend Trevor Hartsock on the podcast. He said, I learned a long time ago that if I wanted to get something done, the best thing I could do was get the heck out of the way and let my team do their thing. Those words were so insightful that David and I decided to do a whole podcast on it. So here it is, the magical power of getting the F out of the way. If there's one thing I've learned in my business career, it's that I don't have all the answers. Look, I'm an ambitious guy, and I like to make progress fast. The secret to achieving success fast is to harness the brain power of other people in the community. That's what the Land.MBA Smart Bar is all about. As veteran investor Jesse Marchand said, the Smart Bar gave me the motivation and knowledge I needed to push through the tough times and accelerate my path to success. Seven-figure investor Mitch Milan likes to say, there's one meeting each week that I never miss. It's the Land.MBA Smart Bar. It's like happy hour with my land investing buddies. I always learn something. So if you want to network with like-minded people, make new friends, learn heaps, get questions answered, answer questions for others, learn new strategies, get accountability, and overall get inspired while having a great time, check out the Land.MBA Smart Bar. For a short time, podcast listeners can get 20% off the annual plan, which comes to an insane $86 per month. Compare this to other programs which charge $250 a month or more. This is hands down the best deal you're going to find and the best way to invest in your success. So don't wait. Please go to land.mba/mastermind. That's land.mba/mastermind and use promo code podcast22 to join today. Hello, all you gorgeous land barons out there. Summer's here. You're probably on the beach, kicking back, getting raised while your organizations are making money for you because you are the bomb. Now, I myself am uniquely successful because I do everything myself and nobody can do it better than me.
Yeah, Howard Zonda.
You self-bleeped yourself on that. That's good because we're trying to keep this family friendly. Obviously, that's not the case. I don't do everything myself. I am not the best at everything, and I could always be doing better. But one thing I can do well is continue to grow hair. So I'm going to go with that right now, just as a juxtaposition to my good friend David Van Steenkes and partner in crime, who is my co-host on this podcast. So thank you all for joining us, and if you could just take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast, to our YouTube channel. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas of things you would like us to be talking about, by all means, leave a comment and we will, David will, because, I'm going to be busy on the beach taking in the rays, but somebody will read those comments and we will do a podcast. So appreciate any help you can have. It really stimulates the algorithms and brings us up in the rankings. So thank you for that. David, the master of doing
disaster. At least that's what my family calls me.
Why?
My brother and I and his kids, we used to have, because he's got mostly boys, one girl. We'd have the mod trophy for Master of Disaster, and we were all kind of getting injured for a while, or something strange happened to us, so we would trade that trophy back and forth, that virtual trophy. Anyway.
That's pretty good. I think my son could do that too. We just got back from the end of year gala for his online school, so the entire school was there, and I learned that his nickname, even in an online school, his name is Benjamin. His nickname is Bennis the Menace. So obviously his reputation precedes him. So that's kind of like Maud.
That is a fitting name for Ben. I love Ben.
So
Awesome.
what's on the docket for today?
So today's title is Get the F Entrepreneurs. Get the F out of here. You want to tell us what that means?
I have no idea, but I'm going to leave because you're intimidating me. So you can continue.
Well, it means we got to figure out how to automate, outsource, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We got to get out of our own way and stop trying to do everything ourselves and get the F out of the way, because our businesses run better when we do.
Exactly. A long, long time. When we first started this podcast, we had the great Trevor Hartsock on it one day. And I remember him saying that he learned early on that if he actually wanted things to get done, he just needed to get out of the way and let his team do their jobs. That he was the greatest stumbling block to progress in his business. And by removing himself, things really took off. And I got to say, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, as a person who's got a lot of responsibilities that are not just business related, I think that's pretty awesome that we can accomplish more by doing less. But the question is, how do you actually make that work?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot more difficult than it sounds, right? Not as easy as it sounds. My great general business coach, Marco Robert, he says that you have one job as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. One job. You know what it is?
Inform me.
To think. That's it. To think. There's a little more to it than that, but essentially that's where we want to get to where we're the visionary and we build the strategies and we let our team work and of course use automation as much as possible. But that's really easy to say once you've gotten to a certain point in your business, making enough income to hire people and pay for all the systems and things like that. So it is a step-by-step process. But I'm just going to come back and ask you, what is something in your business, in either of your businesses, LandSpeed or your land business, that took you a long time to give up, but once you did, everything went. You found that somebody else you hired actually swamped your ass and did it much better than you.
And it's funny, I knew all along that they would. So let's talk about Price Boss. So Price Boss was this thing that grew organically out of a conversation I had with the great Jesse Marchand. And it turned out to be value to people, and we got it out. A lot of people were using it, and it was helping them in their business, but it was kind of clunky. It turns out that I just like challenges. I really do. And so as I'm building this thing, I'm trying to say, how can I create a tool that does basically what I've always done in spreadsheets, but make it like automated and do and be useful to people who don't know anything about spreadsheets. So that's actually a hard problem to solve, and it required all these insane formulas and whatnot. And I would just spend a day working on a single formula to try to make this thing work. And it did, but it was actually kind of slow and clunky. And why? Well, probably because my major in college was East Asian Studies in Chinese language, which meant I was completely the wrong person to do this. And finally, more recently, I found a guy who's actually a phenomenal software development and a great, great guy, young guy. And I said, all right, look at this. We're getting to the point where this is beyond my skill set, and I just can't. I don't even want to invest the time to do what I want to do. And he did it. It was like boom. It was like nothing. It was like a week or two. And then we came out with Price Boss 3.0, which is a complete reinvention of the product. and everything that I wanted to do was done, and everything that used to kind of get slow and laborious now happens practically instantly. It's reliable and it's wonderful, and all of that because I finally outsourced to somebody who was actually qualified to do the job, and I got the F out of the way. So my job was simple. I say, this is the customer experience I want. Figure it out. Next thing I know, it's magic.
Exactly. And now you just don't have to spend hardly any time on it either, right? So when something breaks, it's software, it's going to break.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody's going to figure out some way to do something that's going to, that'll always crash software. I was notorious for that in a company I used to own. My software programmers would be like, haha, come try to break this, and be like 30 seconds and I would break it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened with Price Boss too.
Yeah. But
you broke it in 30 seconds.
If you want somebody to break your software, give it to me. I'll break it.
So if as a developer you would say, well, nobody would do that, give it to Dave, because in 30 seconds, that's exactly what he's going to do.
Exactly. I forgot my point now, but no, okay. But not only did you now totally reinvent the product, and by the way, folks, we're just having a conversation about, getting the F out of the way and automating and outsourcing. We're not trying to pitch Price Boss. But not only is it a much better product, reinvented, faster, more reliable, much more feature rich. And I'm one of your power users. I mean, I give you a lot of the input on it. But now, what's it done for your time and your lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm just totally bored now. I have nothing to do, just live my life, go out and, get ice cream with my kid.
There you go. Or at least have a little more time to do that, right?
I do the fun stuff. I get on my tractor and mow my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember the days when, I was preparing the mailers, taking the phone calls, or, before I could afford an answering service, I was, having to go to my voicemail and call them back. And back in the day when that was actually effective, nowadays you got to answer your phone. But, negotiating with the sellers, writing the contracts, placing the ad, creating the ads, doing the due diligence, everything. And then step by step, you start with maybe a virtual assistant here that can do some of the back office tasks. And then your business starts growing a little more. And now, I can hire someone in the US to take this off my plate. And I've got to the point where I gradually got an intake manager. Initially it was just an intake coordinator, and I was still doing the negotiations. And then that person got trained and well enough to where I could hand it all to them. And now they totally manage 100% of intake and actually have their own VA. And so we just do a scrum a couple of times a week, and I get the high level. And now I've got, also, somebody writing all my ad copy, placing all my ads, and taking sales calls for the non-realtor deals. So it's gotten me to a place where I can do another business like Land.MBA, and I can focus on a visionary strategy for my land business, and also do some of the more boots on the ground deals like, large subdivides and things like that. So
I think that's a phenomenal point, Dave, is that within land, there are so many strategies, and our challenge is, and I think you said it really great, it's to be thinkers. It's to say, all right, I've got this piece of the business and it's working, but we're always growing. We're always looking to make it better, more efficient, or to grow, mostly to grow. And a lot of times that comes from going after new strategies within the land business. But to understand those strategies, to understand how that's different, how that changes your operational model, the conversations you're having, the way you write your letters, the way you price everything, that takes some real intellectual work. And that takes time and energy from us as the entrepreneur, which we can't do if we're so busy turning that crank.
Exactly. I mean, my my next step, and this is like the hardest thing to do, is that's to find somebody who can actually teach to do the mailers and analyze the data and everything. And that's a really hard thing to let go of as well. So that is not, and that's the single most important thing in this business by far, because it all starts there.
Yeah.
The quality of that work will translate through the rest of our business, because it all starts with a deal. If we don't have deals, our business doesn't survive. So you got to keep going at that and being consistent. But getting all that other if that's all you did in your business, which is almost all I do now, if you have everything else outsourced, because how many land investors out there, you can chime in the comments if you want, are inconsistent with sending out mail because you get too busy with other stuff, life, other busy work in the business, and you get behind on your mail. So that's going to cause a couple of things. A, inconsistent deal flow, and B, it can cause poor quality in your preparation because you maybe rushed to get it out, or you tried to take shortcuts or use, a canned pricing method, which aren't very effective.
So a lot of what stimulated this conversation is a book that you're reading right now. What's the name of it?
It's called Who Not How.
Who Not How.
I got to look up the author. I can't remember the author, but
yeah, we'll get that in the show notes. But yeah. The interesting, so is the idea there that, okay, something needs to be done rather than figure out how to do it myself. I'm going to hire somebody to do it for me. Is that the goal of the book?
Well, it's several fold on that. I mean, the basic premise is, who not how is, I'm going to find who can teach me versus having to, or mentor me, versus having to, study a course, read the material, and then go out and learn by the school of hard knocks and just my book knowledge. So I can have a who and a mentor who can help me hack my success, help me accelerate my success, help me avoid costly mistakes and get profitable faster. So that's one who. Another who in your life could be, a life coach, a regular business coach, a trainer for getting physically in shape. But so that's a who on how to teach you how to do something. There's also a who in, let me just outsource this. For example, bookkeeping is a huge one. You should be on top of that and understand what's going on and review it. But you don't have to be on top of the everyday data entry and all that stuff. Hire a bookkeeper for that. Is there, a VA, somebody to post your ads, whatever you want to get off your plate that you can hire out. So it's about outsourcing. It's about finding somebody to teach you, okay, I want to go into a new strategy. So now I've got my land business outsourced and automated pretty well on the basic send mail, buy low, sell a little higher methodology. But now I want to get into splitting and subdividing, or with the time I've got now and the money that's my land business is generating, because the land business is not a forever cash business. It's a temporary cash business. It's an income producing business. Now, if I want, forever cash, to quote Jack Brosh, I want to have assets like rental properties that I can hold forever and the value keeps going up and the rents keep going up. So I can use that money from my land business to invest in these forever assets. Well, but I gotta learn how to do it. Now it's a whole nother strategy. It's synergistic because it's in real estate. So I got to find somebody to teach me how to do it, to mentor me. I got to find team members like realtors and commercial brokers and whatever you're going to do, attorneys, so that's the premise of who, not how. Find, the who that's going to help you accelerate your success, whether it's a hire, whether it's a learn from, etc.
So that's scary. One of the reasons it took me a long time to outsource development on Price Boss is because whenever you outsource, you lose control, right? So now, I mean, even though it was slower and clunkier before, whenever there was a problem, I could always fix it because I knew the product inside and out. Nobody knew it better than I did. Now that I've got somebody else that's developing code on it, when I have a problem, I have to toss it to him to fix, which means I don't have as much control. If I was in the land business, and let's just say if I am in the land business and you're in the land business. So if we want to outsource the upfront list building and mailing process and pricing, then the thing that makes us nervous, again, it's going to be about control. Do they know it well enough? Will they make the right judgment calls? Should I just send to the county, or should I sort the data by zip code? Should I create custom polygons? How am I going to price it? Are there parts of the county that we shouldn't be sending to at all because it's going to be a waste of time and money? A myriad of questions that are now that we deal with today that are out of our control. How do you overcome that fear, if you will, of not being in control of the process?
I wish I had a magic answer for that. I mean, I think it's like anything. You start small, you build some confidence. I mean, there are so many solopreneurs out there that just are stuck in the mindset that I got to do, nobody can do it as good as I do. And I think when you can ask a lot of entrepreneurs who have finally overcome that fear and outsourced, and look, also outsourcing is not magic. Finding that who isn't just let's go find who. You might have to go through some people, and you yourself need to learn how to interview and learn how to teach and document your processes, create SOPs. And, the more complex the skill that you're trying to outsource, the more complex the teaching and training, and the more time consuming it's going to be to get that person up to speed. And you're going to have patience, give them a little bit of leash, not enough to hang themselves, and keep tight checks on it. And then, give them a little more responsibility and keep checks on it, a little more and a little more, and let them work up to things like you did. You're not the smartest person in the world. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to our audience and me. We're not the smart. I'm a pretty average intelligence dude. I'm not that smart, and I've become pretty successful at this business. Is because I figure out who knows what they're doing better than I do. But if I can learn it, so can somebody else. So start out with the simpler stuff that is really easy to outsource. Posting ads. Finding somebody who's good at writing ad copy to write it, and then find somebody who's cheaper than that to post it. And all the while you can check their work. You can edit the ad copy a little bit and make sure that it all looks good. It's really easy to manage the stuff like that. Start there, and that's going to give you some confidence that you can actually find somebody who can do it right. And this is a whole nother podcast, but how to manage VAs and how to manage people. You can't expect perfection, and some people give up too quickly and really need to point three fingers back at themselves when there's a failure. It's happened to me. In fact, I just recently hired someone as a personal assistant, and that needs to be somebody who's on the ball, because I want them to hold me accountable to stuff. I fired this person within 3 days, so at least we didn't let it go long. But I didn't make a good hire, and so I don't know. I don't have a magic answer for you on that. But
in that case, it's possible that you just hired somebody to do an impossible job. Managing you.
Yeah, true, very true. anyway, but yeah, getting over that fear is, you take baby steps like anything, like you did when you started entrepreneurship. And you were getting ready to send out that first mailer and, spend $1,000 or $2,000 that you don't know if you were going to get zero on it.
Right.
You got to get over that fear.
So this may just be my perspective on things, but if there's something I've learned in my life, it's that everything is a continuum, right? There are always, on any given issue, there are always extremes, but somehow the right answer usually ends up somewhere in the middle, right? So when I first started in land investing, I did everything myself. And there were not very many tools around at that time. So my goal was to master a process and then figure out how I could automate it. And then if I couldn't automate it, I knew I wanted to outsource it, but I still didn't quite outsource it. I just waited till the pain of that task was so great that I literally wanted to slit my wrists. Then I tried to automate it a little bit more. And then when I realized, okay, we've gone as far as we can go, then I would outsource it. But by that time, I was able to provide literally by the numbers instructions. I knew exactly how long it should take and how much I should pay for it. So, I was doing it in a way that was still maximizing my personal need for control in a way. Now, I think I probably went overboard. I think on the continuum, I was too far on one side of the equation. Yes. The other side of the equation is I don't want to do it. I outsource it. Somebody else does it. They're kind of figuring it out and maybe figuring it out for me. But are they doing it right? Am I paying? Is it taking the right amount of time? Am I paying the right or the wrong amount of money for that task? I don't really know because I don't understand it well enough. And that's the other end of the continuum. And like everything in life, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. It's a bit of a gray area. I don't know exactly where in the middle it is, but it's not just throw it over the wall and make it somebody else's problem. And it's not taking too long to figure out and to actually pull the trigger on it like I did. It's somewhere in the middle. Are you ready to launch your success in the land business? If you are, I want to tell you about the Land.MBA Accelerator program. So many programs teach you theory and process, but leave it up to you to figure out how to execute. The Land.MBA Accelerator program is different than anything else out there because it doesn't just teach you what you need to know, it drives you to turn knowledge into action. Layered on top of our end-to-end land business essentials video course, the Accelerator is a 6-week intensive small group course that goes deep on the most important topics like county selection, pricing, marketing, and more. In each session, you'll get specific assignments to turn what you learn into the right actions at the right times. So go to land.mba/accelerator. That's land.mba/accelerator and use coupon code PODCAST to get the Accelerator plus a 1-year subscription to the Land.MBA Mastermind program and 25% off all our other courses in our catalog for 1 year. Courses such as the Advanced Master Your Pricing course. You'll also get $100 off of Price Boss, the premier pricing tool in the industry. Our May session is filling up fast, but we still have a few seats left. So if you're ready to launch your success, don't hesitate. Go to land.mba/accelerator today. Yeah. And in the end, I think the really great metaphor for this is an orchestra. Every individual player in the orchestra plays their instrument much, much better than the conductor ever could. But the conductor understands every instrument in the orchestra. It knows how it's played. It knows what key it's in. It knows, what he wants to hear from that instrument and how to instruct and guide the musician to deliver it so that when it all comes together, it creates this very pleasing sound for the audience. And that's what we need to do too, is we need to understand things well enough to be able to instruct and supervise, but not necessarily know how to do it specifically better than the person who's doing it.
That is really well said. I love that illustration with the orchestra. It's actually, perfect. Or a baseball coach or something, right? And because, I think that there are some misconceptions about this business that, oh, I can outsource and automate everything, and somebody can, can come in and start your business and just, hire a VA immediately. And just because the VA company has a title Land Masters, for example, means they know how to do everything. No, they don't. And it's not that easy. The answer is definitely somewhere in the middle. But you can get to a point, and my business is to this point now with a couple of my team members, where now if I want to implement a new project, like we're implementing some additional seller marketing methodologies besides just direct mail. And but I have a team now where I can give them an assignment very vaguely and say, this is the outcome we're shooting for. These are the guidelines. Take it and run with it, and then teach me.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. I like that. And it also, it's people with the personality types that they like being empowered like that. And so they're really enthusiastic and motivated to do it. And, I've got payments, bonus structures in there for the success too. So they're motivated from that end too. But yeah.
A lot of this, it does depend on good hiring and finding the right people. And I had this experience a long, long time ago, but it stuck with me. And it's, so when we look at all of the things, the reasons that we would hire somebody, to me, knowing the task and knowing how to do the task is absolutely not at the top of the list. People can learn how to do things. I was interviewing for a job, and it was a job I desperately wanted. And I was living in Denver at the time. I had to fly to New York City. And I was staying at this hotel, and I get up in the morning and I put my interview suit on and realize I forgot a belt. And I was having difficulty keeping my pants up.
That's a scary thought.
So I get dressed, I get my computer bag, I check out of the hotel early, and I go over to where the office is. And there's the guy that works there in the lobby of the building. And I said, hey, man, I need your help. I asked somebody at the hotel first, where can I get a belt? And he's like, oh, go down to Canal Street and blah, blah, blah. It was not, no. So I just said, I'm going to go drop my bag off at the hotel, and I'm going to figure this, or at the office, I'm going to figure this out. So I go in there, and there's this guy standing behind the desk. And I said, look, I'm about to go to a really important meeting, and I forgot my belt. Do you have any idea where I can get a belt? And he looked at me, thought for a second, he looked at me, and he said, and he pointed right at me, and he goes, I know exactly where you can get a belt. And he told me, he said, go out of the building, take a right, go down 2 blocks, take another right, go up 1 block, and there's a vendor right there on the corner, and he'll have a belt. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. I said, can I leave my bag here while I do that? And he said, yeah, just put it over there against the wall. And I said, can I put it behind the desk? I don't want anybody walking away with it. And this is the money line right here. He looked at me and he said, this is my lobby. Nobody messes with anything in my lobby. And I thought, here is a guy that's probably not getting paid a ton of money, working at the desk in the lobby floor of this building. But his sense of ownership of his domain, of his job, and the pride and the confidence with which he did it was so overwhelming. I believed him. I'm like, I just took my computer bag and I literally left it on the side of a wall in a building that I had never been in with a guy I had never met before, so I could go buy a belt. And my takeaway from that was, whenever I look at hiring somebody right now, I want a person to use that Jocko. I forget Jocko's last name. It's hard to pronounce. The former Navy SEAL guy. But he wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. And that's what I look for. I want somebody who is going to take extreme ownership of their domain. I can teach any skill if I need to, or I can help them learn it. I can get them educated, whatever, but I can't teach ownership.
Yeah, that is really, really a great point. That is a great point. Because I've definitely had, when somebody takes ownership of it, they're a step ahead of you. And you don't have to keep reminding them of stuff because they're taking ownership. And also you get a lot less excuses like, I was sick or, actually that's a decent excuse, but, you get a lot less excuses and backpedaling if something doesn't get done. And it's hard to find those people, but they're out there, they're out there. And I think we could do a whole nother podcast and actually even add a module to our course that talks about how to hire and manage VAs and staff in this business.
Yeah, but they are out there and they're everywhere, and they don't all act the same way. I mean, he had a very New York style about him. It's like, this is my lobby. Nobody messes with anything in my lobby. But there are, soft-spoken, demure gals in the Philippines that come across very differently, but they have the exact same sense of ownership and pride. And when you find them, I absolutely, never let them go because anything else can be taught.
Yep.
So who, not how?
On a positive note on that, one of my very first VAs, she's still with me and she's been with me for 4 years and she knows everything in my business. But the only reason I hadn't hired her full time or given her a lot more responsibilities because out on the province that she lives in the Philippines, and that's a key metric when you're looking at Filipino VAs, by the way, she's got unreliable infrastructure. So her power would go out frequently, but more so than the power, the internet would go out frequently, and she just had very slow bandwidth. And so recently, they've had a whole bunch of improvements on their island, and it's better. So I'm really excited because now I'm going to actually raise her up and give her more responsibility, increase her pay. And I'm really excited because she's fantastic and she's real excited about it too.
So in the who, not how, we've got prospective employees, mentors, coaches,
contractors,
colleagues, people, communities that we want to network with. So I guess what you're telling me is that who is a wide variety of people in different capacities that you surround yourself with to help yourself be successful.
Exactly. Yep. And, look, guys, this is a lifestyle business. And actually, if you're any kind of entrepreneur, the goal is to create your lifestyle, whether it's some fast track thing to make tens of millions and then you're out and you just, grind for 5 or 10 years, or it's more like this land business and real estate investing where it's the, the tortoise wins the race. But as we go, we got to free up the business's dependence upon us, which not only helps us create a lifestyle, but, if something goes wrong, if something breaks, if there's an emergency and you're on vacation, you don't have to be bothered. You've got a team that can handle it. And finally, it gives you a business also that is saleable if you ever want to sell it. Mm-hmm. If a prospective buyer comes in and looks at your business and realizes that the business, you're selling it, we're taking you out of the equation, but you are the business, your business is worth squat.
Nothing to sell. Yeah.
Got nothing to sell. So
that's it.
That's all I got.
Who, not how. That
Rock
is the
and roll,
lesson
baby.
of the day. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Dave. Thank you to the audience. We really do deeply appreciate you. And if you could just take a moment to like, comment, or subscribe on any of the appropriate platforms, it really does help us out. And we really, really would appreciate it. We hope you are getting a tremendous amount of value out of these podcasts. And we look forward to seeing you on the next Land.MBA podcast.
And one last thing, don't forget the famous quote from the philosopher, Mr. Eddie Murphy. Get the fuck out of here.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, had a bit of fun, and walked away with some actionable insights that you can apply to your business. Dave and I have got some great content and interviews planned, so don't forget to rate and review, and of course subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. If we mention any interesting links or tools, you'll find them in the show notes. To learn more about Land.MBA, visit our website at, wait for it, Land.MBA. See you next time on the Land.MBA podcast.